What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers. Subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. I don't have any particular plan for this video because I didn't sleep last night much, but there are a few vibes I want to tackle, and I'll cut that out, and then we'll give it no more seconds. I fucked my voice up by pulling multiple It's John Marston micas over over and over and over. All the vibes revolve around fear. Because I learned about the DBDR channel. He's a YouTuber. And watching that, or his new channel, has been fun today. Because his life is what mine has verged on becoming multiple times. The last time was last December. But it's a there go I, but for the grace of God situation. Except I don't think I would handle it as well as this dude has. Now, I'm in a much better position than I was in. I have some money, I have an escape plan. But I've been thinking a lot about fear lately. And Elias, the ENTJ sociopath, doesn't have any of the qualms the INFJs had, and it's been productive posturing and shit-flinging. One of the things she nailed me on was cowardice. That I am a coward. Now, I don't think that's completely true, but it stings because it's partially right. And it's partially right in the hypervigilance sense and the overwhelming fear of the unknown sense. Absolutely right that, for the most part, I fear the unknown, and these days I would specify that into the homelessness unknown specifically. Now, I know as a woman you're not going to have that problem, which is probably why, among many things, that's one of the things she hadn't considered, wouldn't think to consider. If we're doing snark, which is in fact productive. What I think the real cowardice is, it's needing to feel like you can win. And not actually doing anything to win, but rather surrounding yourself and pushing onto others shit that props up this idea you can win. Because you need that idea to function. I think you're much better off accepting that you can't win. There isn't a win state in anything. And in fact, there aren't many canned solutions to the problems life will throw at you. Instead of viewing things as a linear win state and trying to convince other people of a linear win state to convince yourself that there is a linear win state, you're much better off thinking about it more like an okay zone or a satisfaction zone. I think, it was John Ballantyne talking about tarot. And in relation to tarot, the difference between learning card definitions by the book versus a more intuitive method, it's like trying to learn to speak a language using pre-packaged phrases out of a little handbook, and mispronouncing those on top of that. People might understand what you're saying, and you might be able to communicate, but you aren't speaking the language. That's what this dread and life and terror shit is all about. Not just you, lots of people like you need to believe in the pacifier of the step-by-step fix. And that's not the way life works. Now, you can apply step-by-step fixes to problems. You can accrue all the step-by-step fixes you want, but those will only take you, those will take you only so far, and your mileage will vary. And even if they do work, you haven't won, because another thing about life, one, every problem is unique, which is why you're better off working on an adaptive core than this array or this arsenal of canned therapy bullshit. And even if you get a a satisfying outcome with canned therapy bullshit, you haven't resolved the issue. Because every solution is more like a band-aid, or like patchwork on a coat, or a ship, or something. You've never won. You've only dealt with a problem for now. And keeping that solution in place will require maintenance. Sometimes you'll need to swap out for a different solution because underneath the band-aid, the wound has festered in such a way that band-aid's not going to work anymore. What you need to do is focus on that okay zone. You found a solution that works for now, that you're satisfied with yourself with, maybe, and then also have a plan for how to patch it again. That's how you keep things in the okay zone. In my notes, I think I described it as, or this disagreement as, I can overcome anything versus I can deal with anything. And I'm in the latter camp, because I'm right. Again, it's really nice to suck on a pacifier of, I can beat this and there's a way to beat everything. But when you work like that, you're setting yourself up for your legs to be kicked out from underneath you in a big way, which is probably why she was bugging me. And she's fighting now, and that's good, that's useful, but it doesn't change anything. Both, or this is something you need to consider, both because you are setting yourself up to get your legs kicked out from underneath you big time, and also because people like these become accidental grifters. Of course, there's a fascination with Christianity. The mid-level bleach of the Abrahamics. And you know this is an insecurity and a weakness, because it's never enough for these sorts of people to feel satisfied with their solutions that are working so well. They need other people to believe them too. Because if enough people believe something, then that must make it right. I mean, there's no way huge swaths of people would believe in something or follow something or do something that is completely and utterly dumb, hoping for a positive outcome but will lead to lots of negative outcomes. That's never happened before. But people get swept up in their pacifierification. And I guess you're right. I shouldn't care what other people do. And I don't. But I don't like when people try that shit on me. Because it's my job to impose my beliefs on you and feel gratified for it. Not the other way around. And that's primarily because I'm correct. I say what you do is accept that you can't win, for yourself and for other people, and start building up your jury-rigging muscles and instincts. Because you'll never change this patchwork existence thing. But what you can do is accept it and make peace with it, and then get better at doing it faster, get better at doing it better, and get better at keeping it in a zone you can manage and are satisfied with. And that's another thing. Do you believe I'm happy about the fact human beings can't be complete, totally complete, on their own? Do you think I would want to have anything to do with any other people ever if I knew I could do it all myself? No. You need other people for completely selfish reasons. This isn't about this idea that you need to help other people and be a good person and you're neglecting that. That's retarded, and it contributes to the retardation we were discussing earlier, this self-soothing, using other people. There are certain surgeries on yourself you can't perform. And if you want to be this, it's exactly the shit we're always talking about. This image that people put up on a pedestal, this idea of completion or wholeness, and then they do everything in opposition. It's like the devil's advocate. If completion is something you want, then other people are part of that equation. I hate it as much as the next wrong person. But this video is supposed to be about terror, and instead it was converting a segment of an argument into content But it all connects with the fear, the original cowardice we mentioned. Particularly in relation to homelessness, which a woman wouldn't think about because women don't have problems, everyone's nice to them. Listening to DBDR is terrifying. I'm saving money a lot faster now because I can feel something happening. My goal is to buy a van and get some business looking wrap put on it. One of the things I've learned in nonprofits is every single thing is in appearances. People act like men don't get compliments. I get compliments pretty regularly. And I'll tell you how to do that. You look like you're somebody. Now, don't take the typical testosterone fairy route, with the polo shirt and the wife getting fucked at home. Don't go that route. Also, don't go the standard suit and tie route. Don't look like a fucking tool. Lurk fashion shit. One of my favorite things to do in the last probably 6 months, when I started with the hack shit. We moved into advanced shit. Look up women playing Red Dead Redemption 2. They will usually dress Arthur Morgan in an attractive fashion. In fact, there are a few channels that's their main thing. And there's even a fashion Red Dead Redemption subreddit, which I don't spend a lot of time on. But again, because I'm interested in this cowboy shit, both because I have the opportunity to and because it's useful. Women, internet women, will show you how to dress. And then you do that long enough, you develop a taste for it, and then you can start freestyling, and then you can pull off really dumb shit. I was wearing black skinny jeans today with a gigantic knit sweater and a nice hat and my earrings and my chain and my rings. And I went into one place just to pick up some small shit and I got a compliment sweep. All you have to do is figure out how to dress. But my point in this, aside from making myself feel better, and that's something adults do, is they admit when they are doing something. So at least they're aware of it. I want to get a businessy wrap on a van, so even if I'm sleeping in it, I can make it look like an an execution wagon. Mobile executor. Because if you look the wrong way, you are inviting the government to give you something to cry about. And that's another thing. I was watching those DBDR videos. You look at his childhood, he didn't develop ASPD. I think one of the reasons this genre of baseliner and this genre of sociopath get along is the sociopaths know how to deal with this life well, and the baseliners know how to articulate it well. Because I still think sociopaths do have feelings, but putting words on them is difficult, or they're so far in the background, which is why these sorts of people are useful. I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know, I was watching the DBDR dude, and I was wondering, is this how it feels to watch a channel like mine? Disorientation is the word. And it's weird thinking about the same people as different people, and different people as the same people. Disorientation is a key word. Dude captures the disorienting, fantastical horror of life. And even though I think in terms of genres, this dude and I are not the same genre, close though, someone is feeling the same things and is articulating them. It made me feel a lot better. In part because, one, someone else is feeling something and getting it or wording it. And then two, someone is dealing with it in a worse fashion and is managing, which is comforting. Homelessness is already scary, but I'm really terrified of homelessness with a record. Because when I got my apartment, the land manager sprung on me that she knew about my record and was pretty. This is another thing people do when you have a record. Well, I think we've talked about this before, but we'll talk about it again briefly. People, once they know what your background is, either they avoid you like the plague and they're scared of you, or they are confrontational with you like it's their job to punish you. That's the way she came at me. And she's just some land management cunt. Can you imagine? Well, I mean, I don't have to imagine. I've been pulled over. I've been pulled over one time in my entire life. And of course, it happened after I already had my record, and I knew the cop knew. And he let me off mainly because I cast confuse on him. I channeled I channeled my inner I channeled my inner patheticness, my inner man-childness. I offered to call my mom so he could talk to her, and I could see him getting more confused because I was doing a I was doing a Wii U thing, and he let me go. But that was horrifying. And that's, I don't know how many of those you have in your system. You're playing Witchfire, you got 23 faith, you got some providence shit, divine protection. I need my shit to be right. So if I run into a situation like that again, or ideally, if you run into a situation like that again, probably not going to end well. People are not reasonable, people are evil. The best way to win is to avoid getting into those situations in the first place. And for me, that involves looking and sounding like someone people want to identify with. Being a conduit through which people can channel some better idea of themselves. That's what you do. And that's also probably why I prefer women to men, even though I like neither. I feel less threatened by women. And I feel like whatever my energy is, it works better with women than it does with men. I mean, people talk shit about woman cops, and rightly so, but woman cops are, I think, the only reason I'm not in prison right now. Or at least not in a much worse situation. Women women cops were, relatively speaking, good to me. And although I have issues with women, I don't feel like they're gonna kill me. That's another thing I've been wrestling with is how quickly certain sorts of dudes can make me violently angry. Most dudes, again, I'm uncomfortable around most dudes, but we're fine. But wormy, passive aggressive little old men who feel comfortable talking to you in a certain way really agitate me. And they're always really stupid. This genre of dude is always fucking dumb. How close can you get to somebody with, you gesture with your hands? How close can you get to them before they realize, or before any sort of fight or flight instinct kicks in? This sort of dude, they're so comfortable. They feel so safe. You can get right up on them and they won't do anything. I think Don Corleone referred to these sorts of people as the Luca Brazzis of the world. People who go around asking to be taught lessons by reality. I'd like to reach a point I could theoretically sustain myself, subsistence level, using internet stuff and also street bullshit. I really want to get into real life tarot reading. And I'm considering doing some Patreon tier, like a $5 tier, within which people can ask for information about whatever topic monthly. And then I don't want to stream. Don't want to stream. Bad things happen when you stream. Want to do the 1 hour game commentary video in which we go through the topics and build out the Patreon that way. And it's a mixture of fear and I think there's something in certain people that makes you want to live an interesting life. That's one of the reasons I wouldn't go back and change anything, I think. Because I wouldn't get to be the person I am right now without all my decisions that led up to this point. And as contradictory as it might sound, I like the person I am quite a lot. I like the life I lead. And I have ideas for how to make it better, but I don't want to change any core thing. Because it's not just doing Dracula Flow shit. Getting to walk around as someone who has done Dracula Flow shit feels really good. Things might suck, but of the people to be, you're one of the people to be. As in, I found my niche, Amigara Fault, I found my hole, and I'm in there. It's weird knowing you have found yourself. Now it's more a matter of doing something with it. And in doing something with yourself, you have options, right? Because when you're trying to find yourself, there's only one place you can go. But once you found yourself and you're looking for ways to apply this self you've found, you have lots of options. I was fantasizing earlier about building from Cyberpunk a nomad clan, a nomad clan of van livers. One of the things you need to make peace with is you'll never do anything you think you should do or want to do. You'll never affect the change, the grand change you want to see. Even if you, I think even if you were to become one of these people who rule the world, per se, you'll still never effect the change you want in exactly the ways you want it. The thing to do, I think, is choose an interesting goal, far off, unachievable, but interesting foundations, and then pursue that thing and see how you like the pursuing it. You'll never get there, but what you're doing is it's like running a net alongside a boat. You are gathering up, catching lots of interesting experiences, developing skills that are fun to use. Yes, they have practical purposes, but it's more about the fact they are fun to use. You're playing a game here. And this is not a journey is the destination situation, because there is no destination. Again, I'm not positing this as the way to do things. It's more, for me, this is in the satisfaction zone. And maybe that'll change at some point, but for now, netting up all these interesting experiences and skills is satisfying. That's as satisfying right now, or a variant of my life right now, will be as satisfying a life as I can live. Which you can take as dreadful or terrifying, or you can take it as satisfaction. Like in No Country for Old Men, they're dudes talking about, they do it a lot better in the movie, actually. At some point you need to stop worrying about what you've lost, and or the more you, or as you're worrying about the things you've lost, more is going out the door, and at some point the best you can do is get a tourniquet on it. There is a freedom and a satisfaction in satisfaction. And I don't mean forcing yourself to be satisfied, because that's still strangling the idea to try to get something out of it. It's more opening yourself up to whatever blows into your life or whatever you can gather in the situations you put yourself in, and enjoying them. And again, you're not looking for one specific thing. What you're doing is you're trusting your instinct will lead you to a life that will satisfy you as much as you can be satisfied. Well, there's a participant aspect to this. Everything is a lot more fun when you're in it. And when things go wrong, which they will, that's going to suck, but you can trust your instincts will at least be trying to lead you to some satisfactory configuration of life. And that's going to be different for every person, which is the key thing, because the key is listening to your own righteousness first. I think the best you can hope for is to live a life you find interesting. So we've got a nice chunk of change saved. We're working on building toward that van, and ideally that wrap. I'd love to give ghost tours too. I bought some books on palm reading, but the problem with learning palm reading is that is something you need to do in person for the most part. I was looking around, I couldn't find many good, worksheets for learning palm reading, which is weird. I thought about an entrepreneurial venture, which I will give to whoever of you wants it. I'm just that gracious. You could make an app that, like flashcards, puts different palm traits on a palm on your phone, and you answer multiple choice questions to learn the definitional palm shit that way. That would be a really easy thing to do, but I don't know how to code, so maybe it wouldn't be. I don't understand people who buy courses. Are you buying the idea you could do something? I've thought about putting courses together, but that's something I probably will end up doing. But it is a little bit greasy. We finally did a paid typing session on somebody recently. Got paid, well, it's in the pinned comment now, $400, which is about the amount of money I would need to be paid to do typing. But we did it in a way I was comfortable with. Dude wasn't a dickhead. I like having a bunch of this hustle shit because it gets you involved in things. Yes, the money is nice, although you don't earn a ton of money. The typology shit, if we can pull a few more of those, I see why typology people charge so much. I fucking hate working in typology, but otherwise, all this other hustle shit, you don't earn a ton of money, at least I don't, because I haven't specialized, although I do take the tarot pretty seriously and I like it. It's more fun being involved in something and feeling like you're doing something and getting rewarded for it. Even if there's not a lot of money at all. When I started, I was getting, we had that $5 tier, so I was getting $4 per spread. That's no money, and that's just with Fiverr's cut, that's not even taxes. But it was fun. I want to build up an array of in-person mystical bullshit I can do to make money and have fun doing it. I got a hat band that has constellations on it, and I have that wrapped around my bowler, and I don't wear my bowler much anymore because I've settled on a hat that does everything, and even has a super low brim so I don't have to look at people if I don't want to. Life tries very hard to move you in directions that are unsatisfying. I think the main way to feel satisfied is to be doing something, to have a dog in the fight, and a dog you like ideally. Knowing, again, this is not going to solve anything, this is not going to fix anything, the point is to have fun with it while patching up a hole and being satisfied with the patchwork and being satisfied with the dog or the game. If you try to do anything or to make yourself feel anything, I think you're going to be dissatisfied. And you'll be dissatisfied no matter what you do. But your best option, to me, is to allow yourself to do things and allow yourself to feel things and to enjoy witnessing yourself see things and do things and feel things. Knowing this solves nothing and ultimately you're at the mercy of existence, and it will remind you terribly and bodily, probably. I am trying to protect myself. I don't want to be fucked over by law or by people or anybody or anything ever again, especially not to that extent. But another part of that is this desire to preserve my ability to enjoy things or protect my space or my liberty to go out and enjoy things. Liberty is precious. That's why imprisonment is... I feel like imprisonment for any longer than 7 years is worse than death. This video's all over the place, but I'm in a weird mood. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, on top of all of it. More than usual. I think the essence of this video is, there go I but for the grace of God. And it's also weird to think about the viewership as actual people. It'll show up in my notes when I post them, but I described YouTubing as not feeling real. The idea that I am making videos for people, but I'm really getting dopamine hits. This is a place to talk about things I want to talk about. But the viewership feels like this amorphous, abstract cloud that is vaguely hostile. But I think I'm tapped out for the day. This is why YouTubing is better than people. Nobody wants to listen to this shit. But some people do want to listen to this shit. I strongly recommend you experiment with YouTube or something like it. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.